Hello, and welcome to the City of New Braunfels ADA Self-Evaluation and Transition Plan Public Outreach Event. My name is David Butkus with Access Innovation Partners, and I'm pleased to present this information on behalf of the city. This is an important initiative for the city, both from a regulatory compliance perspective and as part of its commitment to providing accessible, inclusive services to all residents and visitors. Our goal today is to walk through why the city is undertaking this effort, what we've learned so far, and how this work helps to shape the city's plans moving forward. We'll also share how you can provide input because community feedback is a critical part of this process. We have much information to share with you in this presentation. First, we will explain what an ADA self-evaluation and transition plan is. Second, we'll discuss why the City of New Braunfels is updating its plan at this time. Third, we will provide a high-level summary of the findings from the self-evaluation effort. And finally, we will walk through next steps of the process and outline opportunities for public input. Your feedback is encouraged, as this helps the city evaluate priorities moving forward. There are many drivers behind this important plan. There are several key federal laws that shape the city's responsibility when it comes to accessibility. These laws don't operate in isolation, they overlap and reinforce one another. The Architectural Barriers Act of 1968 was one of the earliest federal laws establishing accessibility standards for federally funded facilities. This was followed by the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and specifically Section 504, which requires recipients of federal funds to ensure non-discrimination on the basis of disability. This applies to the City of New Braunfels because the city receives federal funds. Then, the most comprehensive legislation came with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, which prohibits discrimination and sets accessibility requirements across employment, public entities, public accommodations, telecommunications, and more. New Braunfels falls under Title II, which applies to state and local governments and requires the city to ensure that programs, services, and activities are accessible to individuals with disabilities. These three laws together create the foundation for the ADA self-evaluation and transition plan requirement. The laws and their standards help to guide how the city designs, maintains, and operates facilities, sidewalks, digital tools, and public programs. Under Title II of the ADA, every public entity must conduct a self-evaluation. This is a structured, systematic review of whether public facilities and infrastructure are accessible, whether digital tools such as websites and applications are usable by individuals with disabilities, whether internal policies support accessible operations, and the opportunity to consider how programs and services are delivered. The self-evaluation identifies any barriers or non-compliant conditions. Then, the city must develop a transition plan, which is essentially the roadmap for correcting those barriers. The transition plan must include a list of identified issues, a schedule for remediation, and, importantly, public input. As a public entity and as a recipient of federal funding, the city is required to ensure equal access to programs, services, and activities under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, and Title II of the ADA. In addition, the Texas Department of Transportation, or TxDOT, plays an oversight role. Because TxDOT distributes federal transportation funds to local governments like New Braunfels, they must ensure that subrecipients are meeting civil rights and ADA requirements. This means the city also demonstrates compliance through TxDOT's monitoring process. Together, these requirements form the framework for this ADA plan update. Accessibility is not just a regulatory requirement, it directly impacts a significant portion of the community. Nationally, it is estimated that 1 in 4 adults have some type of disability, whether physical or cognitive. In Texas, approximately 12.7% of the population identifies as having a disability when using a narrow definition, but that number is considered underreported because disability is often self-identified and some individuals may not categorize themselves that way. When broader health-based measures are considered, that number increases to nearly 29% of adults. Additionally, it is widely reported that the U.S. population is aging. As the median age increases and the number of older adults grow, the need for accessible infrastructure, programs, and services becomes even more critical. This means accessibility planning is not only about compliance, it is about ensuring that the city can effectively serve its entire community now and into the future. The City of New Braunfels has made significant progress over the past several years. Since 2019, the city has engaged in multiple phases of data collection and accessibility evaluation across facilities, parks, public rights-of-way, digital assets, and policies and procedures. The city has also appointed an ADA coordinator, improved internal workflows, developed departmental ADA cohorts, incorporated technical guidance from TxDOT, and prioritized citizen requests. Because the city continues to grow and evolve with new facilities, updated infrastructure, and expanded digital services, it is important to update the self-evaluation and transition plan so that it reflects current conditions and future needs. During this effort, across all phases, the city evaluated a broad range of assets and services. This included 34 public facilities and parks, a pilot study of public rights-of-way covering over 41 miles, 818 curb ramps, and 28 pedestrian push buttons, and 28 website pages and 17 public-facing applications. Each of these areas represent how residents and visitors interact with the city, physically, digitally, and operationally. Rights-of-way results have informed a citywide collection effort planned to begin this year, and that data will be added to the ADA transition plan. Additionally, because many digital assets are controlled by templates, the approach allows the city to apply lessons learned across the spectrum of digital assets. This comprehensive approach ensures that the transition plan is grounded in real-world conditions and focuses on areas with the greatest impact. The city evaluated a wide range of facilities and parks, from major destinations like Landa Park, Hidman Island Park, Doss Rec Center, and the Civic Convention Center, to neighborhood parks and city operational sites, such as City Hall, the library, and fire stations. A full list of sites reviewed are included on this slide. The city will also publish this PowerPoint as an accessible PDF so that users who rely on assistive technologies can explore all the locations in detail. These sites represent places where people engage with city services every day, so evaluating them thoroughly was essential. The 2010 ADA standards for accessible design, adopted under Title II, provide the technical standards to evaluate all buildings and facilities. We have an image that shows the cover of the 2010 Standards Manual issued by the Department of Justice on this slide. The prioritization framework is covered through program accessibility guidance from ADA Title II and DOJ's Title II Technical Assistance Manual. Federal guidance provides a standardized way of prioritizing barrier removal. The priorities are based on impact to accessibility and are as follows. Priority 1 is access to the site. These are barriers that prevent someone from entering or reaching a facility. Priority 2 is access to goods and services. These are barriers that prevent access once inside the site or facility. Priority 3 is restrooms. These are issues that affect usability within a restroom. And priority 4 is other elements. These are issues such as drinking fountains or vending machines. During this evaluation, the majority of identified issues fell within priority 2 and 3, meaning they relate to accessing services within a site. Priority 1 issues, or those that create challenges with entry, are less frequent but critically important. Across facilities and parks, several common types of issues were identified. For priority 1, entry and exterior accessible routes, common issues included parking signage and striping issues, excessive slope at accessible parking spots or in the access aisle, non-accessible routes to the right-of-way, and excessive running slope or cross slope within an exterior route. Other common issues included missing or non-compliant curb ramps and insufficient landings or excessive slopes within those curb ramps. These issues are important because they can prevent a person from entering the site altogether. Findings by priority level 2 address access to services. Common issues included missing accessible routes to amenities, changes in level and gaps within accessible routes, and inaccessible seating or assembly areas. Also included service counters that are too high or obstructed. All of these issues limit a person's ability to participate in the activities or services provided at that site. Priority 3 outlines issues in restrooms. Frequent findings included inaccessible toilet compartments due to incorrect dimensions, missing or non-compliant door hardware, inappropriate reach ranges for dispensers, and fixtures installed at incorrect heights. Items related to sinks included exposed pipes under sinks that need insulation, and sinks which were installed too high. Priority 4 items included all other items, such as drinking fountains, and common issues included fountains that were mounted too low and didn't allow for knee clearance, and fountains provided only at a high height without the required low height companion unit. Although these are lower priority, they still impact a citizen's experience. Overall, these findings help the city understand where improvements will have the greatest impact on usability. The city conducted a pilot study of pedestrian infrastructure in the public right-of-way. This included sidewalks, curb ramps, and pedestrian signals across approximately 42 miles, 818 curb ramps, and 28 signal push buttons. PROAG was adopted by US DOT in 2025 and continues to be the best practice for evaluation until full adoption by the Department of Justice. The evaluation included all the necessary accessibility criteria per the Public Rights-of-Way Accessibility Guidelines, or PROAG, to include but not limited to sidewalk slopes, widths and obstructions, curb ramp components and slopes, landings, detectable warnings, and more. Many issues were identified across the evaluation criteria, and common findings included missing curb ramps at crosswalks, excessive slopes, both running slope and cross slope, gaps or obstructions in sidewalks, and clear floor space for push buttons. Most findings were in the medium to low severity categories. It is important to distinguish between technical noncompliance and true usability barriers. For example, a cross slope of 2.1% is technically noncompliant, but it does not typically create a meaningful usability barrier. The severity scale helps the city understand which issues affect usability and which simply require refinement of construction practices. The city is now moving forward with a comprehensive right-of-way data collection effort. Findings from the citywide effort will be prioritized by severity and activity levels, and this information will be combined with the city's existing sidewalk and right-of-way data. All of those results will be added to the 2026 final transition plan through a plan amendment once completed. All of what the city learns from this process also helps to inform staff training initiatives and procedures. Digital accessibility is evaluated differently because the standards come from the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG. The city completed a high-level review, which is advisable given the city's website uses many standardized templates. During this process, the city evaluated 24 high-traffic website pages and 17 third-party applications. This slide provides a list of digital assets evaluated from specific third-party applications to the various web pages on the city's website. These include applications that provide survey tools, and many city web pages such as the homepage, the calendar, and the newsflash page, to call out a few. Again, the city will publish this PowerPoint as an accessible PDF so that users who rely on assistive technologies can explore these lists in greater detail. Because digital assets are expansive, it is important to prioritize public-facing and high-visibility content for review first. WCAG also gives guidance to review content based on if it is perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. These 4 elements are what make up the POUR, P-O-U-R, workflow model. We look for user impact and traffic volume to narrow the list. Content required to complete essential functions are critical tasks. And we look for systemic issues first, where we can tackle challenges through templates. The team conducted automated evaluations, plus manual code reviews, screen reader testing, and keyboard navigation testing. The majority of issues identified fell into minor categories for websites. The city has already begun to address the website's major, critical, and blocking issues. Common digital findings included digital content elements which lacked proper roles, low color contrast, which can make text difficult to read for users with low vision. For instance, on the screen there's a red box with green text reflecting poor contrast and white text reflecting appropriate color contrast. Other issues included missing alternative text for images or icons, which prevent screen reader users from understanding content, and keyboard navigation issues, which prevent users which cannot operate a mouse from accessing features. The city will work with vendors to address third-party application issues. Recognizing that some systems are externally managed, test results will be shared with the third-party application providers to aid the process of remediation. Digital evaluations and action plans ensure that residents can access services not only in person, but also online. Policies and procedures were thoroughly evaluated through departmental interviews. Instead of reviewing policies in isolation, the project team also used an employee staff survey to understand how well employees understand and apply accessibility-related procedures. Surveys were distributed across all key departments, and the findings will help shape staff training, departmental procedures, customer service practices, and future policy updates. This operational lens helps ensure that accessibility is built into day-to-day service delivery. Each data set, facilities, parks, right-of-way, digital, and operational, has its own baseline prioritization, but that was just the starting point for that effort. City staff are now reviewing these priorities through a programmatic lens, asking questions such as, which barriers have the greatest impact on residents? Which facilities serve the highest number of people? Where can remediation align with upcoming capital projects? And how will community feedback shape what gets addressed first? This ensures the transition plan reflects both technical standards and community needs. Public outreach is a critical part of this process. The city's goal is to provide meaningful, accessible opportunities for community members to participate and share feedback. Outreach efforts include coordination with disability advocacy and community organizations, and promotion through the city's website and social media. Updates on this effort can be found at www.newbraunfels.gov/ADA. This public feedback opportunity will have a feedback window from May 18th until June 15th. Residents are encouraged to complete the survey using the link or the QR code provided. You can reach the survey link by going to https://forward/r/8wg3y-z3y-p-y. All submitted questions will be compiled and addressed in a publicly available FAQ document. Anyone needing assistance or an alternative format can contact the city's ADA coordinator, Scott McClellan, for support. Scott can be contacted via email at smccelland@newbraunfels.gov or via telephone at 830-221-4248. Following the public outreach period, the city will finalize the ADA transition plan. The final report will include a self-evaluation methodology, a summary of findings, the results from public outreach, a prioritized implementation schedule, and strategies for improving accessibility. The plan is scheduled for adoption this year. After the updated transition plan is adopted, it will be posted online for a final public comment period for 30 days and will remain available for at least 3 years. The city intends to update the plan regularly as barriers are removed and as new facilities, parks, and digital services come online. On behalf of the City of New Braunfels and the project team, thank you for your time and participation today. Your feedback is essential in helping the city prioritize improvements and ensure that programs, services, and facilities are accessible to all. We encourage you to complete the survey and share this opportunity with others who may benefit from participating. Thank you again for being here and for contributing to this important effort.